We begin with breaking news coming in from near the Turkish capital, Ankara. There has been a large explosion outside the headquarters of Turkey's main aerospace company, Turkish Aerospace Industries. Now, images of what appears to be one of the assailants have already been released. There are initial reports of dead and wounded, and at least one government minister has described the blast as a, quote, terror attack. Local media are also reporting that gunshots were heard at the facility, which is about 40 kilometers from the capital, Ankara. All right, I'm going to cross now to our correspondent, Julia Hahn. She's in Istanbul. She's following this story for us. So, Julia, we know some details, but they're slim. What more can you tell us at this point?
Well, Brent, that senior official you just mentioned is the Turkish Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya. He said, and I quote him here, a terrorist attack was carried out against the Turkish aviation company TUSAŞ. That's a company located on the outskirts of the Turkish capital, Ankara, in an industrial area. He said they were dead and wounded, but without providing further details or any numbers. Now, Ankara, as you know, is the Turkish capital. It's home to 5 million inhabitants. It's also where the parliament, where the presidential complex are located. President Erdogan himself is not in the country at the moment. He is in the Russian city of Kazan attending this year's BRICS summit, so we haven't heard anything from him yet. Turkish media are reporting that heavy gunfire and explosions were heard outside this aviation company's headquarters and that emergency services were dispatched to the site. They were also speculating about a possible suicide attack. Turkish TV channels right now are also showing images of several gunmen who tried to storm the premises of the company. And there are some reports, unconfirmed though, that hostages were taken. The situation is still very much developing.
Yeah, we want to let our viewers know we're looking at live pictures there. That looks like the entrance to the facility where this, what one official has called a terror attack, may have taken place. Julia, do we have any idea what or who could be behind this? I mean, do we know of any force, any group that would have a score to settle, for example, against this aerospace company?
Well, it's probably still much too early to say. Turkey has been struggling for many years with various groups, militant groups, terrorist groups, from the so-called Islamic State or ISIS to Kurdish militants of the PKK. There have been a number of terrorist attacks here in the country in recent years. The last attack in Ankara, I just looked it up, was a year ago in October when gunmen carried out a bomb attack against an interior ministry building. Now, that attack was blamed by Ankara on Kurdish militants. The PKK, in specific, the PKK is a group that is considered as a terrorist organization, not only by Ankara, but also by the European Union and the US. It has waged a decades-long bloody insurgency against the Turkish state. And now some commentators are saying today's attack actually comes a day after a very close ally of President Erdogan, the leader of the ultra-nationalist MHP here in Turkey. His name is Devlet Bahçeli. After he said, very surprisingly, suggested that the long-imprisoned leader of the PKK, Abdullah Öcalan, could be released from jail if he announces the dissolution, the end of the PKK. Those comments have caused a lot of outrage here in the country for many different reasons. There might be a connection, but as I said, it's probably still too early as the situation is still developing and more information is hopefully coming in.
All right, a lot of speculation, story still developing. Julia Hahn there in Istanbul with this breaking news story, a large explosion outside the Turkish Aerospace Industries outside of Ankara. Julia, thank you.